Hi guys, so today I'm gonna get ready doing my makeup for the third time as I tell you guys a story about how I got suspended from high school. So one day I was in high school and I was 16 years by that time, and I'm African. So in Africa, as kids, our parents just take us to school and we're in boarding school. It's not like in America over here where you go to school and then come back home every day. In boarding school, you're in school for like, let's say 3 months. Yeah, for 3 months straight. But they're basically like visiting days where your parents can come and see you guys. So I was in, let's say, because school over here is different, and I was in like, I was remaining with only 2 years to be done with high school. Let me just make it simple like that. I was remaining with 2 years. And basically in Africa, if you're remaining with 2 years to finish high school, that one class that you're in before the 2 years is like you have to graduate and then go to the upper level for those 2 years for you to finish. So I was almost graduating, doing my exams to graduate. And then me and my friends, we were like 5 girls, I think so. Me and my friends decided to escape from school. Yeah. So we had like male friends that were in 2 classes upper than us. They were in the upper classes, like they were in the last class. Let's say like they were in 12th grade and they were leaving high school in just like a few months. So we were like, you know what? Because it was only us, like the kids that were remaining with, I don't know how to explain this because school here is different from school in Africa. It was only us that the kids remaining with, how should I say it? With 2 years to finish high school and the kids in the last class in school. It was basically like that. So we make a plan. So we're like, what should we do? School is so boring. All the other kids are home, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and we make a plan. We come up with a plan. And we're like, okay, let's escape and go to the club. As 16-year-olds, that's what you're going to think. So like, yeah, let's go to the club, have fun, and then see how the night will end. And when I tell you guys that this was our second time doing this, it was not the first but second. So we were like, you know what, let's do it. So we got some male friends from our class and some male friends from the upper, in the last class of high school. Let me just say that. Yeah, so we got those two. They were like, let me say like 4 guys from the upper class, and us in our class we got like 2 boys to go. So we're like 5 girls. So we counted and we're like, so each girl should have like a male to go with for security, something of that sort. So like, yeah. So we made up the plan and we left. And when I tell you guys that when we made the plan with these upper level guys, let's get names for these 2 boys. They were, let's say like Chris. No, they were like, I don't remember the exact number, but we were 5 girls. So that means there were 5 male friends. So when we made up a plan to go with them, so we make a plan, and these boys were like, so how are we going to reach to the club? Before we left school, we took all of that in consideration. So we're like, you know what? They were like, they're going to get us a car and all of that. Mind you, in Africa, yes, we were in boarding school, but there are kids that go home, like they're in day school. It's called day school. Me, I was in boarding school, and there are kids that are in day school. So if you're in day school, you can go home every day. But in Africa, you have classes from morning to evening. So this one guy that was in day school, he was like, you know what, I'll make plans and we shall get a car. So when you guys get out of school at night, outside there will be a car for you to just hop in and we go to the club. And when I tell you guys that this club was like 5 minutes away from school, I am not lying. Like driving, it was 5 minutes, but walking, I think like 15. But driving, it was like 5 minutes away from school. That was really stupid of us to do. So we go. And guess how we moved out of school? We had to jump the fence. So we jump the fence and we out. Yeah, we find the car outside and they help us hop in. Yeah. And we go to the club. So when we go to the club, you guys, we have fun. We enjoy the whole night. And the day comes to an end. We were in the club until like, it was almost morning. And we had to go back to school. mind you, before we left school, we had some friends that we left over that we had told about our plan, and we are like, in case the matron comes by and she looks for us, just lie, say something, tell her something, so that it can keep us outside longer. And they were like, yeah, of course, nothing, of course we can do it for you guys. And you're like, okay, fine. We enjoyed the whole night, and after enjoying the whole night, we go back to school. And then the boys help us hook back into school. They carry us up to jump into the fence back in school. But when I tell you guys that night when we came back in school, like they had like patrol, should I call it like patrol in Africa? That's how they call it. They were in school at night, moving like in the dormitories where we used to sleep. So it was really hard for us to just jump over and go back inside school. So we had a plan to wait and see if this guy won't see us in order for us to jump the fence and get into school. So all goes on well for the whole night, and we go back and we sleep. We go in bed thinking that everything is fine, just thinking like everything is perfect. And these girls that we left us at school to help us tell us if someone is looking for us, because here's the thing, in Africa we do have matrons, and when these matrons come by at night, they come by at night to walk in the dormitories to see if everyone is sleeping. Yeah, that's what they used to do in Africa. So we told them if she comes in, like try to do something to show that maybe we're in school, something of this sort. Yeah, so we come back thinking everything is perfectly fine, and we sleep. And when I tell you, when I was sleeping the next morning, I just had someone open the blanket off my legs, like, I'm like, what the heck? I just felt like a breeze of fresh air on my body. And when I turned around, it was the matron. And then she kept on opening like everyone, like getting them out of the covers, because all of us were sleeping. All of us were so tired because we went and clubbed like for the whole night. So yep, she went on opening everyone, and she told us, oh, I need to talk to all of you. And I was so surprised because she knew everyone that was out that night, and I knew we were done. At the moment she came and opened me in the morning, I knew I'm going home. Like, I'm done. Yeah, and in case you guys are gonna be like, oh, how did you get in the club when you're only 16? Blah, 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 you were underage. I know. But the guys that we went with, that were 2 classes upper than us, helped us get into the club because they were like above 18. So I think they paid or something of that sort because we were friends. So we got in real quick that night. Yeah. The lady was like, oh, the matron was like, oh, so you guys don't know that we know that you guys were out last night, you think we're stupid and all of that. And I'm like, oh my God. And when I tell you guys that the next week was really horrible for all of us, because we kept on saying, what are we going to tell our parents? Like, when my mom comes in, when my dad comes in, what are we going to say? African parents do not play. He may get his belt and whip your ass right in front of everyone. So we were like, what are we going to do? So there was this one guy, he was a teacher. He comes to us, like, they used to call us for meetings, like everyone that was out of school that night. So he comes to us and he's like, so he used to call individually, like he would call like me only or my friend only, and he will be like, oh, so if you come, like if you decide to tell me what really happened, how you guys planned everything, you won't go home. I won't tell your parents, like you'll be fine. All your friends will go home before you won't go home. So he kept on telling that to every one of us, thinking that we are stupid. Maybe we'll come and tell him, oh, so we planned this and that and everything. But no one said anything. No one said a little bit of anything. And we had this one guy that went with us. He was in our class. He came to us and he was like, let's make up a plan. Like, all of us should have the same story, because they're gonna call each of us and ask us, oh, how did this happen? Why did you guys do this? So let's plan and let every one of us have the same story. So we made up a story. of course, a false story. We're not going to say the truth. We made up a false story. When they called each one of us, we gave them the same story. So the teachers were really confused of how are they gonna let us out of school. By that time, we were stupid teenagers. We thought, oh, we won the case, of course. So a week passed by. They're doing the investigation. It was like it's police in school. They're doing the investigation and everything. And after a week goes by, when I tell you guys that it was one day that they told us to dress up and go to the administration office. So the administration office is like the principal's office. So we go there. And when we enter the room, our parents are seated. Like, they called all our parents that seated inside. They call each one of you to talk and tell them what really happened. Each one of us. And when I tell you guys that I started shaking, I was crying because I was like, what is my dad gonna think? What is he gonna say? Like, I'm a girl. Like in Africa, it's like disrespect. And by that time, all the kids in our class were talking about how we escaped from school, how we did this and that, like we're not good girls anymore. And everyone kept on talking about us, but no one really cared because we knew the truth. We went out to club. So after every one of us going into the office, when it was my turn to go into the office, I was really scared because me as a person, I know, like back then, my mom used to be really tough. Like, she wouldn't care. She can even slap you in public. She doesn't care. That's who my mom is. She can whip your ass in public, like when everyone is saying, so I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Will my dad save me? How am I gonna look? Like, I was thinking a lot of things. That's all I can say. So I get inside and I talk because all my friends were really scared. Can you guys believe it when I tell you that they told me to give the whole story? Out of everyone, they told me to give the whole story of how everything happened. I couldn't believe it. So what I did was I gave the story that we had planned as kids, like, because we planned, when they call us, we should tell them this and that. That's what I told them. I told them the story that we had planned. That's what I told them. I didn't want anyone to go on and be like, or change the story, because if I change the story, my friends will be so mad at me by that time. So I told them everything that we had planned as my friends. Yeah. So I started crying and everything. And my dad just kept on looking at me, and my mom had this mean face. I knew I was done for real. So after everything happened like that, the principal had to decide, so what are we going to do for these kids? So she goes and she says, so for these kids, we are going to suspend them for, 2 weeks. We are going to suspend these kids for 2 weeks. And I'm like, what? 2 weeks? Okay, let me tell you guys the truth. By that time, as a person, I really wanted to go home because I was tired of boarding school. I kept on saying, why did my parents bring me to boarding school? I want to go home. As a kid, you can get tired and you miss your parents. You miss everything at home. So I really wanted to go back home. So when the principal was like 2 weeks, in my heart, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do home for 2 weeks? But I really wanted to go. I wanted to go. I wanted to have fun. But what kind of fun are you going to have when you're in a punishment? So there was a parent that stood up, like, randomly out of the room. She was like, no, how can you give our kids 2 weeks? They're soon completing high school. They only have 2 years to go. And the older kids are in their year of high school. You cannot do that. You should only give them a week. And this one parent saved a lot of us. Because, there was some kids that they gave 2 weeks and some were only given a week. So for my case, I was given a week because I stood up and said that whole story. And I have some friends of mine that were home for 2 weeks because they didn't participate in anything. So they thought maybe they were the reason why we had to go out of school, not knowing that all of us were in the plan. So we get out of the office and I'm bawling out my eyes. I am crying. My mom is looking at me. My dad has nothing to say at this point. So we go home. I get in the car and we go home. And when we get home, I had a phone by that time. My mom just took away my phone. She was like, "You are not using this phone ever again." And I'm like, "What?" She said, "Yes, you're not using this phone. You're gonna be in the bedroom. Like when we call you, it's when you get out." Yeah, and it's I was in prison basically. I was home in jail. Yeah, so that's what happened, guys. I was home for basically a week and I had to go back in school. But by the end of the week, I think my mom had no choice but to forgive me because, you know, as kids, as teenagers, you do stupid stuff. So, yeah. So I had to go back in school and they had to do some shopping for me. Yeah, I was going back in boarding school. They had to do some shopping for me, buy me some stuff. And I went back to school. And when I went back to school, I was surprised because some kids were not there, forgetting that some were given 2 weeks, some were given a week. Yeah, so that was the story, guys. And then after 2 weeks, some of my friends started coming back to school and I was happy. But the rumors kept on moving in school that those are the girls that went out of school with boys, blah, blah, blah. They have no dignity left for them. They are this, they are that. That's what everyone kept on saying. But who cared? As a 16-year-old, I won't lie to you guys. I felt like when I got suspended and went home, I knew that what I did was really stupid. But for a minute, I felt like I was cool. You know, like when you do something that you never expected to do in life and you're like, oh my God, I did it. I never expected to do that. And for the mind you, for the second time we did this, I did not think that they will get us because it was the second time. We were doing this for the second time. We were out the first time and no one got us. And the second time we were good until the next morning. So anyway, guys, this is the final look. I don't know if I like it or not because this is my third time. So you guys tell me if you like it or if I need to change anything. I'll be waiting for you guys to tell me. Yeah, so that is it, guys. That was my story time. Love you guys. Bye.